My name is Jody Rock. I am a band member at Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation, currently working as the health liaison. Part of the work that I do is to support health service providers in capacity building, and what that means is putting suggestions in for training of new staff, so onboarding, professional development of staff, with the end goal of having them better able to support Indigenous people as they engage with the healthcare system. So, Ashton, thank you for sitting down and chatting again.
Yeah.
We're talking today about how you support community and what that looks like. So, going back to what we talked about before, the learning and the training and the lifelong commitment that you make to this work.
Yeah.
How are traditional healers or medicine practitioners, how do they get their credentials within our communities?
One of the things that's very important, and I found this even myself traveling to different reserves and communities, is that they'll ask you right away, who are you? Where do you come from? Right? Who's your family? What's your clan? What's your nation? Right? Have you went fasting before? Right? So if we're somebody that's bringing all these medicines and things into a community, the really knowledgeable people, the elders, will ask you those kinds of questions. So they'll kind of grill you right there on the spot. And so one of the things that we have to understand is that your community knows you. They accept you, right? If you're somebody that's been working in the community for a long time. So they're the ones that will claim you, right?
And just thinking about how people may be encountering individuals that are professing to have this type of specialized knowledge, if they're not open about what community claims them, if they're not able to say, freely and in a good space, this is my family, this is my community, this is the land that I'm connected to, might that be a red flag?
That would definitely be a red flag, because again, like I said, your community, your elders, they know who you are.
Yeah.
And there should always be people there that will be able to claim those people, right? And yeah, so that to me would be a very big red flag. And if somebody can't tell you openly where they're from, because again, in our teachings, we're taught that the first thing you do when you go to a different community is you address who you are, right? You sometimes as well, people will give tobacco to the elders even before they step on the lands of those people, right? So again, it's about giving thanks. It's about acknowledging who you're around, right? And being able to do those things. And I feel like if somebody is unable to do that, that's not a good thing.
Or unwilling, we've seen or heard about some people that get defensive and not wanting to share that information. But given the amount of work that one has to put into being familiar as you are, I think that it's important for people to remember, how are people validate people like yourself. So thank you for that. So the modern system is set up for pharmaceutical companies to profit. I've heard different things about, and I've experienced myself how doctors are quick to write prescriptions rather than, asking about your diet or, your lifestyle, different things. So when people are coming to you, how do they pay for the medicines?
Well, that tends to be the question that's most commonly asked, right? Because again, and the way that I was taught is that you don't always accept money for things. You don't always take payment for stuff, right? Because again, some people don't have the means to do that, right? And so one of the things that and I actually tell people that if you're somebody that's dealing with a lot of health problems, right? And again, because life is expensive, all these things cost money. One of the things that I tend to do is I tell people, okay, if you're somebody that's very gifted at, maybe you're somebody that can can, you're good at canning things, right? Or maybe you're somebody that's good at a craft, right? So a lot of people make beautiful drums and rattles and things like that. Those are things we can always accept as a payment or a trade. And it's not so much about the money or the monetary value of things. It's actually about accepting something that somebody's put their love, somebody that's put their energy into, right? So those are things that actually have a more value than money. And so when somebody can do something like that and trade their medicine, what we're taught in our teachings is that actually strengthens that medicine. It makes that medicine strong, because the spirit of the medicine understands that if somebody's putting everything they can into something, that it's just going to improve that even more, make it stronger, right? Yeah.
You talked about how modern medicine, I don't remember the word that you used, but you're pulling things out of the plants.
Yeah.
And what did you call it? Synthesizing?
Synthesize,
something like that. So you're taking components out of the different plants and kind of combining them. And that's almost like a very shallow kind of way of honoring the plants, you know, the source of that medicine. When we look at monetary compensation, that's also a very shallow way of engaging with somebody, right? And saying, we value you because we're going to give you this piece of paper. So really what you're talking about is honoring the relationship, and the relationship not only with the person that you're helping, but with spirit. You know, like you're saying, you honor that person's spirit, and that spirit, what they're giving you, strengthens that medicine. And I think that makes our way superior. You know?
It does. And like I said, it goes back to all those different things in the way that we are as a people, right? Is we're very compassionate, we're very giving people of ourselves, right? And so again, as somebody that works with medicine, one of the teachings that I was taught is, like, if you're going to be somebody that helps other people, is no matter what's happened before in your lifetime, if you're somebody that's had a disagreement with somebody, if it's somebody in your family you don't get along with, anytime somebody comes to you and they bring you tobacco and they ask for your help, you're supposed to help them. Right? And that's just the way we are as a people, right? And so again, that just speaks volumes as to our medicines. It speaks volumes to our ceremonies, right? And how important they are, because it teaches us to be better people.
So for somebody in the community wanting to come and ask you for help, I'm going to give you the questions ahead, and you can answer it in any way that you like. How would they approach you? How would you like them to approach you? And is there anything that they need to do to prepare for approaching you or for using that medicine?
Well, I'm a very open person. You know, anybody can approach me and talk to me. One of the things I guess I would say is that if you're somebody that's looking for medicine or for ceremonies or whatever, is one of the things we're taught is that you always offer tobacco first. So tobacco being what you put your intentions into, what you're asking of somebody, and that goes back to our really old traditions, right? When we all carried pipes. So a long time ago, we all carried pipes as because we were such spiritual people. And that offering of tobacco actually started with the pipes, because that tobacco would have to be put in. It was always just enough tobacco that would fit inside a pipe bowl. And that's where that teaching comes from, that when somebody offers you that tobacco, right, it's an agreement. So when I take that tobacco for somebody, now in the eyes of the Creator, that's something that I have to fulfill on my side, right? Because they've already asked for that help. And now it's up to me to give them that help and to make sure that they receive the best quality help.
So is there anything, you know, that somebody would need to do to prepare themselves for using the medicine? And I'm thinking specifically of some things that I may have heard in the past where, you know, there was some gatekeeping around ceremonies where, you know, if you've been drinking or, you know,